All right, let's see why I hate fun is the psychology of Diablo 4.
Before Season 1 of Diablo 4 even kicked off, the community, for the most part, came to a general consensus about the changes set to impact the game.
I actually just lost my hardcore character while trying to explain this to you. I changed my mind. I hate.
You guys haven't seen that video? CM or DM Darth Micro, hilarious video. He's going through and he's like, "Oh, I made this and I did this and I developed this," and then his character died in hardcore. Complete script, like script flip. One of the better, if not the best video I've seen out of him. He's got a lot of like great opinions and he gives a lot of good information, but this was one of the truly like, I guess, developed storyline type videos he did, and it was a short and it was just beautifully executed.
Hate this season.
Asmongold has some
Game's
spicy
so fucking
takes
bad.
on Diablo.
Holy shit. Oh my god.
He's hilarious,
So fucking bad.
Now, this isn't a new development.
And it's not all
for
wrong.
the Diablo franchise, or really for video gaming as a whole. More and more developers are seemingly at odds with the gamers they're being paid to develop for.
At the heart of Mass Effect Andromeda is a question. How
Okay.
far will we go?
Good question. That fucking psycho face.
Oh my fucking god, what is wrong with your face?
It just seems they're getting out of touch.
Our modern
Wait.
world is an increasingly connected one.
You all have phones, right?
Our mobile devices keep us closer than ever to our friends, family, and loved ones.
They
and
do.
maybe they don't want us to do the one thing we want to do when playing video games.
Oh.
Have fun.
My God.
Pain, misery.
I was literally just talking how it's a rough day.
Does Activision Blizzard
Inability
actively
to move
hate
forward.
fun?
It's fine, boys. 2 seconds.
What gives? Why are video game publishers and developers seemingly not listening?
The people that are in charge of this game should be ashamed of themselves. This is a joke. The
Fair.
game is a joke. There are so many things that are badly programmed and just badly designed. How is it that you can fail at your job in so many tremendous and massive ways?
The answer to
I think it's really funny though when you watch Asmongold. Asmongold does a lot of, I dislike this. This is garbage. Worst thing ever. But if you actually watch like his full content on Twitch, he's very balanced and reasonable about it. Like he does enjoy things and he gives things a chance and he wants to enjoy them and he puts time into these things, but he's not blind to problems that he might have. And there is a certain degree of people like to punish themselves in video games when you look at like Elden Ring and Only Up and games like that. There's a fun way to punish yourself though, and a not fun way to punish yourself. And like there's that skill gap and mechanics have to be right. And I don't know. It seems like modern developers have a really hard time balancing true skills test and difficulty with fun mechanics that make you want to overcome the challenge.
that question, in my personal opinion, was set in motion more than 20 years ago. Now, before I get too deep into the why, let me give you a little background on
Is
who
it
I
because
am
money?
and why I came to this conclusion.
Normally during hurricane coverage, some common images are streets flooded and cities full of water, but I don't know if you can see this, but the one place that there should be water is bone dry. I'm standing at the bottom
Grinding is
of Lake
just
Panier because
punishment
northern
with
winds are
extra
actually
steps.
driving the water out of the lake.
My name is Alex Labat, and for more than 5 years,
Grinding is a step that you have to do in order to punish yourself. It it's a delay tactic to the punishment.
So I worked in the television broadcast news industry. I was a news reporter, producer, anchor, you name it. This isn't meant as a humble brag, but more so to give you some context as to why I arrived at the conclusion that I did after doing some similar research the way I would have if telling a story for air. If you watch this video and find yourself reaching the same conclusions that I did, just do me a favor. Like the video, consider subscribing, and let me know in the comments if you'd like me to do more of these types of videos in the future. And now we get back to the heart of the matter, or actually kind of the lack thereof. What if I told you that the decisions these major publishers are making could technically,
it's money. It's going to be money.
Be traced back through companies, buyouts, organizations, mergers, acquisitions, through teams and decisions, all back to one person.
Halo.
Now, I'm going to preface this by saying this is not an attack on this person's character, jobs, decisions, anything like that. This is just my hypothesis as to the state of the gaming industry, and by no means am I advocating on contacting this person, attacking this person's character, or doing anything that would or could get you in trouble. I cannot believe I have to say this, but developers receiving death threats is...
It's the internet. We just did a video on this. Yes, you have to preface this because someone's going to take it too far because reasons.
Asinine and childish. So whatever you do, don't do it. Now, let's move on. Well, by taking a step back, all the way back to the year 2001. This is the crucible moment. This is the year that everything changed.
Like, look, turn on the TV, they hit the Pentagon! They hit the fucking Pentagon!
Jesus, no. Okay, yeah, it's 2001, but no, we're not talking about that. Jesus.
Okay. What are we talking about?
About this. An article published on April 27th, 2001, entitled Behavioral Game Design. It's a 17-minute read, but the crux of it is this. It utilizes the language of behavioral psychology to explain why players react to video games in a certain way and what about the games makes them rewarding. To quote the article, quote, psychology can offer a framework and a vocabulary for understanding what we are already telling our players. Referencing experiments by B.F. Skinner with rats and defining terms like reinforcer, contingency, and response, this article would stand as a watershed moment for then behavioral psychology graduate student John Hobson. It would be this article that would get Hobson seen by Microsoft's Games User Research Group, and soon after would land him a job working behind the scenes on games like Halo.
So social engineering and gaming, I mean, I guess that makes a lot of sense, because if you socially engineer the gamer to be more receptive to certain things via certain gameplay tactics, you can then monetize more efficiently.
Here's an excerpt from Hobson's book, The Secret Science of Games. My job is to make games more fun. Not all games have to be fun, of course, but the ones I've worked on are popular entertainment. On blockbuster titles like Halo, Age of Empires, Destiny, World of Warcraft, and Hearthstone, my personal contribution has been to help the development team understand when players are having fun. Fun is one of those dense little words like love that provoke a lot of debate about their precise definition.
It's also a vague word in the way that, like, not everyone's fun is the same. So you could ask 100 people what makes this game fun, and you're gonna get close to 100 answers, if not 100 answers. Because I'm willing to bet there's a couple people out there that are drawn to the exact same, like, mechanics and stuff. But ultimately, fun is a non-specific word.
Everyone's got an opinion. And people talking about fun get into arguments using big, impressive concepts like immersion, flow, and autonomy.
You're ruining my immersion.
Smart people have written scholarly books on fun, subdivided it into categories, and tried to copyright their personal formulations. Those debates can be interesting to read, but I've worked on a lot of great games, and my definition of fun is extremely simple. Fun is whatever the designer and player agree is fun.
Kennywa says, question, why did you guys increase the cast time on stuff like leaving dungeons? Feels like you're trying to slow down the game by making us waste time for something that might feel useless.
In Hobson's eyes, games aren't just a solitary creation of a lone designer. They're a conversation between the designer and the player. A game becomes fun when a designer creates an experience.
That idea, that like overlap between game designer and gamer, has been something that I think has been hit a lot in recent times. When you start talking about games that look like they have promise, are games that have a solid foundation at launch, and it appears that developers are listening to the community to make improvements to move the game in the direction the community seems to want it to go, finding that middle ground and moving forward. That should be and needs to be the path going into the future, where game developers release a game, listen to the community, insert feedback, and do it in a way that meets both their vision and the players' desirable traits within the franchise.
That aligns with the player's expectations and enjoyment. This perspective formed the foundation of Hobson's work at Microsoft's Games User Research Group. His role was to analyze player behavior and feedback, and then communicate these insights to the game developers.
Tough thing to do.
His goal was not to dictate the direction of the game's design, but to provide data that would help designers make, quote, more informed decisions. Now, why am I so focused on a guy that worked for Microsoft and Bungie in a video about Diablo 4?
Well,
2010, Hobson would become head of research at Bungie, becoming a pivotal figure in the development of Destiny. Do you know what else happened in 2010? That's right. Bungie strikes a 10-year deal. With who, you might ask? Oh, Activision Blizzard. Hobson is on the ground floor as Destiny takes off. His tenure at Bungie lasts from 2010 until 2016. The first Destiny launches in September of 2014.
Good game.
And from that point forward, there are some
really
players that have not put the game down since. Why? Hobson actually goes into detail about why in this game developers conference presentation from 2015. Simply titled User Research in Destiny, this hour-long presentation summarizes not only the entire philosophy and psychology of the game of Destiny, you can extrapolate what Hobson is saying across almost the entire gaming industry when it comes to games like live service games. I'm going to play you some select segments from this presentation, but I will link the full video in the description so you can see for yourself just how much of an impact this presentation from 2015 has on the gaming industry as we know it today.
We started thinking that actually we really want to encourage people to play not just the right activity for their mood, but also to play a variety of activities and to not specialize too much. And this was connected in our heads to the idea of the buffet effect from psychology. The idea that if you have one flavor of food, like a giant bowl of like white rice, you'll feel full and you'll get sick of it sooner than if you have 5 flavors or 10 flavors out in front of you. And so that's why when you go to a buffet, you always end up eating too much.
But that also highlights, like, I think my point, and I really like this, like, train of thought and idea, because the whole, if you ask 100 players what they find fun in a game, you're going to get so many answers. Well, by giving that large swath of activities or different ways to play, you allow more people to latch on to that one thing that they find enjoyable, and it increases like the community's overall fun, right? Because if player A likes dungeons and player B likes world bosses, and like these players intermingle occasionally, but they each have their own thing that they want to do with a couple other things that they get to partake in, you know?
Other games have done this sort of thing before. They've deliberately set out to encourage omnivores. So if you play Hearthstone, which I do too much, they have their daily quest where they say, okay, we're going to give you extra gold if you play this class you don't normally play. And so maybe you never play a priest deck, but you have a daily quest for it, and okay, yeah, I'll go look it up. I'll go look up a priest deck and give it a shot. And that way, if your other deck that you normally play stops working, well, you had that priest deck you'd played yesterday. Man, maybe I'll play that instead. It's like if you only play cooperatively with your friend online and your friend stops playing, you probably stop playing too. Even if you're playing a warlock in Destiny, we'll drop gear for other classes to give you a little nudge towards trying another character. So I was like, oh, I don't normally play a Titan, but hey, I got this really cool helmet. Yeah, I'll give it a shot. Please make no mistake, this kind of testing that I'm showing here was the majority of what we did on Destiny.
Very intentional.
Very straightforward user research where it's, can people progress through the game overall, and what does their progression curve look like, and is each piece of content working the way we think it should be working? Another topic we did research on was class regret. So like all RPGs, we ask players up front to choose what class they want to play. And it's really stupid because we ask people to make that class choice at the moment where they know the least about the game.
Correct.
And we ask them to make a choice that's then going to affect the rest of their play for the entire experience. And we're setting them up for failure by asking them to do it that early, but that's when you have to make the choice. One of the great things about the modern age is that everything is on YouTube and Twitch. So if you can find some strange play style in the data, somebody out there has put it online for you to watch. And you can tell he is reading the tooltip, that just saying pressing button X dismantles the gear clearly isn't enough to prevent him from doing it. And so we actually ended up adding a safety mechanism that you don't just have to tap a button to dismantle your gear in Destiny, you have to press and hold the button, and the more valuable the piece of gear, the longer you have to hold it to dismantle it.
Smart.
So if you have an exotic and you want to dismantle it, it actually takes a long time to fully destroy it. And so just a personal anecdote on this, like the first time I got in a legendary in an internal build, I did this. I accidentally dismantled it because we didn't have any safeguards. And I was so angry. I was ready to go over and punch somebody on the UI team. And at the same time, though, it struck me that this meant the game was working. That little pixel gun that I'd just gotten, I was so happy to have it, and I was so invested in that virtual gun that I was so angry that I wanted to go over and hit somebody. And so I had this great moment of, oh, we're screwing up, but oh, that worked.
This presentation was delivered in early 2000.
That's like really good, though. That's like really small things that like help. Like, I hate the idea of being socially engineered or using too much psychology in games, but like small details like that matter. Quality of life is a massive thing when you're doing what amounts to your hobby. If your hobby aggravates you more than it relaxes you, you're going to find a different hobby. So little quality of life things make a lot of difference in the long run.
15. What else was delivered in 2015?
Welcome to the World of Warcraft feature preview for the new WoW token system coming in patch 6.1.2.
Oh,
WoW
look at
token.
That. It's the WoW token. And what else was released in 2015?
Hello again, Guardian.
Oh, look at that. It's the Eververse store in Destiny. Bungie, Blizzard, these companies were able to take what they learned about the psychology behind what drives a player to play these games and to monetize it. But what happens?
We've hit the money portion of the video, where again, the social engineering and psychology of why gamers game turns into something that can be exploited to increase your enjoyment via increased spending. Not shocked, but that's what happens. If you can use the social engineering and psychology of why you want something in a game, you can capitalize on it by creating a desired need effect that increases your spending to increase your enjoyment. And I'm not a huge fan of microtransactions. I hate that they exist, but as long as they're cosmetic and don't like change the overall gameplay, I don't care. Games that have things like pay to level up faster or pay for better gear, that's when you cross a line where you're creating a need and desire to force monetary interaction that destroys the enjoyment for other players who either can't or won't spend that extra money.
When you apply this mindset not to a game that already exists, but a game that's just whispers and rumors. Right around the time Destiny launches in 2014, Diablo 3 is undergoing a tumultuous dismount. The teams working on Project Hades, the next iteration of Diablo, have the project scrapped. Team 3, the team behind Diablo 3, breaks up in 2014. Fast forward to 2016, teams at Blizzard begin working on not one, but 2 Diablo games.
Yeah.
Diablo 4 and Diablo Immortal. And who just so happens to take over as senior user research manager for Blizzard at the end of 2016?
I'm back, baby.
I'm holding my breath.
And only.
Oh.
John Hobson takes over as senior user research manager in December of 2016. His current resume reads, quote, I founded and managed the games user research team at Blizzard Entertainment, the studio behind Hearthstone, Overwatch, World of Warcraft, and Diablo. I oversaw research to benefit AAA mobile, console, and PC games in all stages of development, using a variety of qualitative and quantitative methods, including usability, playtest, focus groups, targeted surveys, and analytics.
I'm sorry. I hear about this stuff sometimes, and I can't help but think of the scenes from Silicon Valley where they hire the guy at Huli to do focus groups, and he's like, who else thought this phone was whack and stupid? Brenda, John, Jason, Eric. I can't help but see that when I think of these like focus group and this development style of thought process. It's a problem. I know.
I coordinated relationships with over 40 distinct partner teams, many of which had never worked with a user research team before, building the relationships necessary to create a data-focused organization. I partnered directly with studio leadership to provide the data they needed to make decisions faster with higher confidence.
And again, not all of that's bad, right? There is that line, and there's a good case to be made that developers need to listen to the player base and react in a way that merges the gap between what developers want to give you as an experience and what players expect as an experience. So this can be used for the benefit of the gaming industry. It's just sometimes, especially recently, it feels like they fall flat and they miss the mark.
Since tenure would last from December of 2016 to September of 2018 at Blizzard. Do you remember what games were released during this period? Or were even in development?
You all have
Look,
phones,
at the end of the day,
right?
all this boils down to is one thing. Data. Do I believe that John Hobson is solely responsible for the state that Diablo 4 is in?
No.
You'll have to excuse the pun, but hell no. But what I do think is that video game companies have taken Hobson's methodology and twisted it to meet their needs and bottom lines. After all, Hobson would leave his role at Blizzard in...
See, and that's where it becomes bastardized between it was designed and developed to bridge the gap between developers and gamers, and it was turned into, and this is not on developers or the gamers, but it's the publishers and the studios. It was turned into, how do we use the developers and gamers to increase monetization? How do we make how do we use what gamers want and tell the developers to use that to push products in a microtransaction store? And that like twist of what it should be is hopefully what he's getting at, and it seems like that's where it's probably going.
September of 2018, 2 months before this.
Hey, just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
No, it's a fully fledged Diablo experience on mobile, which everybody will get to play, and hopefully which will bring new heroes to Sanctuary, as well as welcoming our community back into it.
This went so well.
We're very excited about.
We don't have any plans at the moment to do PC.
It went so well. The fans just
Yeah, you guys
loved
all
it.
have phones, right?
This whole
Y'all
video
have
can be summed up
phones, right?
in this. It seems like what's happened is that data now means more than the player that represents it. You aren't seen as an individual holding a controller or sitting in Discord waiting for your friends to hop in a voice channel so you can run dungeons.
Most of the stuff over here. Smile for a snapshot there. Oh my god. That was great.
What is it? Did I just plug into this? Yeah, you just plug in. It's like back
yeah, just keep on going up. Just keep on going up.
No. You are the equivalent to the ones and zeros that make up the games that are being sold to you. You are just data.
Yep.
I
Bulk
got
data
the idea
collection.
for this video.
It is the crux of the modern technology age, where every company at the end of the day wants bulk data to change and like streamline their monetization methods. It's why the gas station wants to give you a loyalty rewards program. It's why Lowe's wants you to be in their Lowe's Club membership program. It's why all of those exist, so that they can streamline data collection and make it so that they have only the highest selling products at the lowest price available, so that they can get rid of fluff that they don't go through or people don't want within the store. It's everywhere. It's worse on the internet, but it's even in retail, and it's definitely made its way into gaming and other media.
Because while researching Mr. Hobson, I came across this article. Here's an excerpt from this game industry article entitled "Why I Hate Fun."
Interesting.
Quote, people keep playing or quit based on their current experience right now. We have to earn every second of ongoing player time, moment by moment. A game can be good overall while still having giant potholes in the player journey. It gets better later is cold comfort to a player who is not having fun now.
And this is so huge. In Diablo 4, this is the hurdle that they are at right now. Because there are very few gamers or people who are willing to look and say, I like the foundation of the game. I think the mechanics can get better, and I think the game is going in the right direction. But they're not where they need to be right now. It is very hard for a large majority of gamers to look at something, say it's not where I want it to be right now, and stick around knowing or hoping that it's headed in the right direction. That's not a thing. Looking for the light at the end of the tunnel is not something gamers do. This is a hobby. This is my enjoyment. If I'm not enjoying it right now, I'm going to walk away and find something that I do enjoy. And the odds of that person coming back when you make the changes that would have saved the day are slim to none.
It's this genuine attitude that I believe is being warped by much of the game industry. Time is the ultimate factor. Time is money. The more time you spend with a game,
time is money, friend.
The more fun you must be having, right? That is what the data.
And that's where the artificial grinding comes in. That's where the data points that if we make you do 900 menial tasks, you're going to spend time in the game to get through those tasks to get the thing you want. And the data point says you're enjoying the game because you're spending time in the game, even though you're upset that you have to do these tasks to get where you want to go. And it's this false artificial inflation of game time, not through fun, but through mechanics that you're suffering through to get to what you actually enjoy. Yeah, no, punching the window is not smart. Don't do that. Like, if you're mad at the game, stand up and walk away, take a break, a little breather. Don't hit things, because inanimate objects don't care if you hit them, and your body tends to care more.
That says. But when the guy whose work
it's got one of those
helped
like metal,
inspire the Xbox Live achievement system is immune to those very same achievements, you have to ask yourself one question. What am I letting video games do to my psychology? Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, again, please, I ask you just like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you have a subject
he put
that
a
you'd
lot
like
of,
me to do a video on, or if you'd like me to do more videos
as
like
far
this
as like background.
Again, my name is Labat.
And things
this
like
has been
that.
a pleasure. I'll see you online.
There's the link. You guys can give it a like. But something that was missing was the end all be all of like why or how to fix it. And I don't know, because it really is a monetization thing, and some of the points are like playtime. Like we talked, playtime does not equal fun all the time. Just because someone's spending more time in the game because you're putting in these things that they have to get through to get to other things, that doesn't help you. When you try to bridge that gap about what the customer wants or what the gamer wants, it's not about how do we use that gamer desire to monetize. That's how we get them to stay in the game. You have to find mechanisms that make it so that I want to be in the game, not that I have to be in the game to get around this mechanic to get to another mechanic. The game industry is missing that bridge between where gamers' fun is and where developers' fun is, and I think the disconnect comes from the publishers and studios who are sitting above the two, because I don't think developers changed. I don't think developers want to force these microtransactions. I don't think developers have that insight, or they don't care that people want to do X, Y, and Z. And like you see it in the fireside chat with the Diablo developers, where they seem to listen and they want to make the changes. They're just slow to make the changes, and it's monotonous, and they're going to have their own problems because they're going to lose a lot of people that won't come back when they actually fix it. But like the marketing and sales team are more worried about getting the store pushed out and this pushed out. So like that is what the developers are forced to focus on, as opposed to, you know, making the game enjoyable so that people organically want to spend extra time in there. And that's where we're at. And I think he's right. This whole, when we started breaking down the psychology of bridging that gap, when he broke it down, he started doing the work, and he made good games based off of that. And because it worked to make those games good and enjoyable, it shifted so that people recognized it. And then people, once they recognized it, looked for a way to monetize it. And that's where it got twisted and fell off of effectiveness. And that's where we're at. I don't think I hate fun. I don't think game developers hate fun. I think that it's just a frustrating state of gaming that we're in right now.
And subscribe, do this stuff. You want all that? All of that. Hey there, it's Skeg Broggy. Thanks for watching the video. And if you enjoyed it,
Please let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and follow me here on Twitch for more awesome content. Link is in the description.